What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Season Gaming Bitcast. It's another fine Saturday here, and this is going to be episode 139, which is hard to believe, but we're getting there. We'll have to figure out something for 150 for sure. Dan,
we go to like Hawaii for 200.
There
you go.
Yeah, on the Season
you
Gaming
funding that?
account. Well, I mean that's from the we just take a little bit out of the charity fund. and we'll
shoot right if you're funding that one, I'll be on that pick.
That's the next show Bomber gets on.
Yeah. Dan, you are here. You're 30% off. You've got your own promotional code. We don't know 30% off of what. Well, you're not defining it, but at least it's 30% off. What's going on?
The secret. Nothing, man. I'm just chilling out. I'm a little bored. Playing some games. Because I do a show, on Saturdays at noon.
Really? I gotta check that out.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I'd say it's above average.
It's like a 6.
Like a 7.
Yeah,
it's a 7.
It's right at the 7.
It's about a 7.
It's about there. No, man, I'm good. Good. Glad to be here today.
Cool.
Yeah.
Breaking out the Sea of Thieves shirt, I see. Going back to a classic.
A little bit.
Yeah.
They sent me 2 of them, both of which were the wrong sizes. Yep. I ordered 1 shirt. They sent me 2 wrong size shirts.
Nice.
So this one's a little big, but that's all right.
I can top that. I'm ordering some new tables for statue display over here on my left, right? And I ordered from 2 different places this week. One of them was Walmart. Order from Walmart, get a notification. It's shipped. It'll arrive February 8th, which already is strange. That's why does it take 2 weeks to get a table? I don't know. So then I get an email 2 days later saying, "Oh, it's been delivered." And this should be a big box. So I look out front door. There's nothing there. I'm like, okay. Check the tracking. It was delivered to a guy in Texas who signed for it.
No.
Oh, nice.
I don't know. And yet the email from Walmart shows it was delivered to my house. So
No, that's weird.
Okay,
That's really weird.
What was his name? You want to call him out?
Yeah, right.
You should be able to see all that stuff.
I do. I've got his name on who it was delivered to. We'll look that up and, give him a shout out from the Bitcast.
Was it Bert?
It's probably Fork out there in Texas.
Fork's like, I had a table show up at my house. What So
awesome.
if you're listening, oh shit, I don't have it right in front of me. We're not going to worry about it. We're way off track already.
Yeah,
all right,
all
let's
right.
get our tracking back on. All right. Anyway, joining us, friend of the show, Gaming Beyond the Box panelist. You guys know him. There's no introduction needed here. Bomber, what's happening, brother?
Man, not a whole lot, honestly. Just been busy with work primarily, and then life. Got some family stuff going on this weekend. Actually, after this show, get to actually go straight into some family stuff. So, but definitely happy to be here because it's been a minute, but I always love being on here. So yeah, I'm definitely ready to. I'll definitely talk about some of these beautiful stuff, especially what's trending on Twitter, though.
We're going to leave that one alone for now.
We're going to leave that one alone. Okay.
If you are on Twitter and look at what's trending, it may surprise you. And it's not what you think, but, anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway. But yeah, thanks for joining us, man. Family stuff. We all know how that goes. So, but always good to have you on, dude. So should be a fun week. We've got some kind of bigger things to talk about and some speculation as well. I figured we'd jump into without getting a little too crazy. So why don't we go ahead and get into it? So the big thing this week we're going to talk about is Xbox because they're the first ones to release kind of their Microsoft's fiscal report, which of course includes their gaming division, which is obviously Xbox. And so they, all of the companies we've seen, the major publishers, major gaming companies, Nintendo, PlayStation, Xbox alike, have all seen big growth in 2020 due to the pandemic, which we've talked about that. But this is really impressive. So I'm going to run down this real quick and, we can just give our thoughts on it. But the Xbox Series consoles, and this is straight from Nadella, Microsoft CEO. The Series consoles, most units ever shipped for an Xbox launch. Gaming revenue in the quarter topped $5 billion. That's a 51% year-over-year growth, which is kind of extraordinary, really. Xbox Live passed 100 million monthly active users for the first time, which, that's just been growing exponentially over the past couple years as well. And then there are now over 18 million people that are subscribed to Game Pass. and we'll touch on Medium as well here shortly. We'll be touching on that. But these are really impressive figures, guys, and it's kind of crazy to think that, I'm sure we're going to see similar numbers out of Nintendo and PlayStation in terms of growth, but it just goes to show how big, Xbox is growing. And it's funny to see that a quarter's revenue at $5 billion. So to put into perspective, their biggest ever year so far had been $11 billion in an annual report for Xbox in their gaming division. So that the fact that they passed almost half of that in one quarter, just shows the amount of growth that they're seeing. And it just makes me laugh, of course, because we keep seeing all these kind of, I will say, uninformed or uneducated people on this stuff saying Game Pass is not sustainable. You can't sell games, blah, 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 blah. But their growth is just exponential at this point.
It's insane. Especially the fact that, yeah, like you said, $5 billion in one quarter. Like, come on. You can't say that. And a lot of people are like, they're not making any money. And clearly they are. I mean, yes, they're losing on the consoles. They always do. Phil's already said it. Yes, we lose on the console, but we make it on everything else. Then, of course, with saying the Xbox Live, past 100 million, no wonder they wanted to push it up to $120 a year. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, you got 100 million. I mean, come on, man. Talking about some growth there, but yeah, it's impressive. I mean, it's definitely a good thing, and that honestly gives us some hope of what they can, put that money back into their studios that they currently have, or the potential of new studios potentially. But
which we're going to touch on too.
Exactly, and this is a good thing. I mean, you can't say it's bad. 18 million in Game Pass, which I think everybody was expecting 20 million.
Yeah.
But hey, even then, that's still huge that they gained 2 or 3 million since there were 3 million, because I think they said 15.
Yeah, 3 million in a quarter.
Yeah, so I mean that's still a lot. And granted, the numbers that they showed, I can't remember when it was when they were showing sold consoles was the Xbox was at 2.7 million or something like that. I'm like, well, that's pretty good to say that majority of those were probably Series S's, and then, or not necessarily majority, but then 70% of those Series S's were brand new customers to Game Pass. So, I mean, that's huge. I mean, those are why the numbers are why they are. I mean, it's insane, and it's going to be good for the future, I personally believe.
Yeah, no doubt. And Darren, yeah, absolutely. In fact, I mean, Phil and others in the executive kind of leadership roles at these companies have said that directly, that COVID has, they've seen it in streaming. We've seen it in game sales. We've seen it in console sales. In fact, the only reason the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S haven't sold more is just the supply. I mean, the demand is still there. As soon as they go in stock, everything still sells out.
And AMD is out there, they're behind too.
Yeah, production's behind.
So.
There's a lot of downstream impacts, right? So, in fact, Lisa Su, AMD CEO, came out this week and said she expects both shortages for PS5 and Xbox Series consoles till late 2021, which is kind of crazy for the people like us who were fortunate enough to get them. I didn't, especially like Dan and I, who had an abundance of them that we helped with friends and family and whatnot. It's kind of crazy to think that, people are still struggling to get them.
It's nuts, man. I mean, I don't even know how much is. What I'd like to see with these numbers. Normally I don't, and I still don't really care about how good this company's doing. It's great, for me, and for gamers. But I'm always curious in how it actually breaks down.
Mm-hmm.
But we never see that, and we usually don't see it from any of the companies. To be fair, now, like Bomber said, okay, we've got 100 million.
Yeah.
I can see why they wanted to, try to, kind of.
Yeah. And to be clear, right, just to make sure we're making the right points here. 100 million monthly active users. So that includes Silver, meaning the free Xbox Live, and that includes anyone logging into an Xbox Live account on any platform. So it's not only just Xbox and PC, right? It can be if you play Minecraft on Switch. And you've connected your Xbox account, your live profile for your data, that counts as well. So,
yeah, I mean, I'd like to see, that's a what, 1 million subs every month. So that's insane, but
I don't know what you mean.
If you started at the 15 million, you're up to 18 million in your quarter.
Oh, in Game Pass. Yeah. Sorry.
So that's basically, in Game Pass, how many of those subs are, is it a 1 month thing? Is it a yearly thing? That's just, I don't care necessarily, but it's interesting to me that we don't ever see those numbers. And I'd like to see those numbers just to say, wow, man, that's really impressive.
Yeah.
But in the end, I give a shit less because I'm stuck in Game Pass for years to come. I think we all are.
Right, absolutely.
So that's great. And to Bomber's point, you need to take this and translate it into, your studios. Either going out and purchasing some more or funding them. I mean, the money thing is not an issue with Microsoft. It's just not.
They get $2 trillion this week.
Yeah, right.
$2 trillion.
Right. That's the revenue. Is that like gross revenue?
That's market cap.
That's the market cap.
Yeah.
Okay, so the $5 billion is what? Is that, that's just what they made?
The $5 billion is revenue for the gaming division of Microsoft, which includes Xbox, obviously, which is Xbox. I mean,
right, but that's also third-party stuff, first-party stuff. That's everything, right?
Anything gaming related, yes.
Okay. So, all right, yeah.
In fact, Nadella called out that $2 billion of that was third-party.
That's insane.
Yeah,
insane.
Which honestly, that is insane. Because everybody kept saying, third party is what's keeping Xbox alive. It's like, well, I mean, yes, it's still a big part, absolutely. And all of Xbox has said multiple times that, third party is important. We want a lot of third party in Game Pass. We want third party with, any kind of, not to say exclusive, but some type of partnership. It makes sense. I mean, that's what most people buy is third party. So that's what it is. But yeah, just to know that, really, moreover is that their first party is actually what's keeping them up there, which is kind of impressive.
Yeah, it's the majority of what their revenue is. Yeah,
exactly. And considering what they have,
Yeah, I was going to say, and that's before really they're starting to hit with their first party studios, right? We keep talking about just wait until everything starts kind of coming out. But I mean, right now, from a first party perspective, that's probably kind of held up by their service games. So you think of Minecraft, as a perfect example, Sea of Thieves, those ones where people just continue to play and put money into in some form.
Man, it's good for them. Now show me the damn games, boys. Let's do this.
And the interesting thing, we hear all the time, we're going to talk more about the medium and my reviews up, and we'll talk more about the game itself later. But the interesting thing, I don't know if you guys saw this morning, is that Blooper Team came out. There's a Polish article that already said that the medium has already recouped full development and marketing already this week.
That's great. See, come on, guys. Like this is the thing. Like, and this is where the whole Twitter thing, like, please don't take everybody's word on Twitter, like, because y'all would think that the medium, the devs and all that are not making any money.
Yep.
And this is not Microsoft giving them money just to say, hey, this is how you recoup it. We just give you a check. No, that's literally people buying the game.
Yeah, they said sales. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, like,
and it's not even on PlayStation yet. So
right.
Yeah.
If and when, I always like saying that.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just, there's a lot of misinformation in particular about Game Pass and its effect on developers and revenue and profitability and sales and all those things. But if you do I've said it before, right? You do any actual research into it. Game Pass is a boon for developers. It's not a detriment. So, it's interesting, but I think we can kind of segue over to some of the rumors going on. Now, it came out, a lot of people are spreading this insider rumor that someone said, there's a Bethesda level acquisition, and the words were kind of taken a little bit out of context, go figure, coming from Xbox this year. So I can tell you that what I've heard, which I would think is generally reliable, is that, there's a couple acquisitions too, in particular, that have been in the works for a long time. that will come to fruition this year. Now, saying it's Bethesda level is kind of tough. There's not even that many publishers in the industry that are Bethesda level. Right. I mean, there's a handful. So, I would keep your expectations a little in check, but I think what's overwhelmingly clear is that Xbox is not nearly done making moves. And so one of the things I wanted to talk to you guys about was I found I had a conversation with someone else this week, and he made a very good point in a perspective I hadn't looked at it before. So if you think of, we've talked many times about Game Pass wanting to be for lack of a better phrase, Netflix, right, in the gaming industry, where there's always something new for you to kind of go in and play. And they've gotten better as months and time has gone on with that, just like we've seen over the past few months. But they want to support that from a first-party perspective, right? So everyone keeps talking about the fact they have 23 studios, which of course they do. But if you think about game development time, right, compared to, say, movie or show development time, the lead time is a lot greater, right? So when you talk about you want to have enough first-party content to where there's something new every month and there's kind of a tent pole title every quarter for Game Pass, to be in that space where you can actually produce that amount of content, 23 studios is simply not enough. It sounds crazy, I realize, but 23 studios is enough. Hell, 30 studios might not be enough, because these games just take longer and longer to develop, especially big AAA titles, right? So, I mean, we're already seeing it. There's a lot of companies they bought in 2018 that we're still waiting to see the first game from, and we may not see it this year. So you're at 3+ years already. So I think people are thinking, oh, Xbox is 23 studios. This is not the end. Don't be surprised when Xbox continues to build and buy studios, and they start getting up into that high 20s, 30 plus range of studios, because their vision of Game Pass is well beyond what it is right now, which is already kind of crazy if you think about it.
So what as far as like consolidation of the industry, I've always been kind of against that. We've talked about that before.
Yep.
Like, at what point does it become where, this gaming company, Xbox, or whoever is going to do it, consolidates everything to where you pretty much are forced into, if you're a gamer with like certain type of games, Bethesda games, you're kind of forced into that ecosystem.
Okay.
How many studios, I guess, do they have to acquire to get to that point where they're it? Where it's like, well, you can go buy a PlayStation, but you can play basically, nothing because nothing's coming to this. So.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I don't know. It would be it's personal opinion at this point, right? And guessing. I think that the growth of the industry is so great, and there's so many developers that are expanding or growing or just being built as we speak, that I think it can sustain it, even if they get another major publisher or another major few studios, or they build their own, whatever it may be. I don't think you're ever going to be concerned about content from that perspective. I think what Xbox is doing, again, opinion, is they want Game Pass to be your entry point for new and AAA content on a monthly basis, regardless of where else you play. So, think of what we've seen with the Switch, right? Most people, at least the statistics show, the Switch is not their only console, right? The Switch is it's like us, I'm sure, right? You play on Xbox, play on PlayStation, you have a Switch, you know what I mean? And you play on it. I think that's where Xbox is personally thinking of Game Pass. It's like, it doesn't matter if future in Amazon, Stadia, Luna, PlayStation, whatever it may be, Nintendo, but no matter what, you're going to have Game Pass too. Because it's like Netflix. You can have Prime, you can have Hulu, but fundamentally, the number one, far and away, subscription service and content is Netflix. It's like, that's the one people think of as the go-to streaming service. And that's what I think.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, that was my last sentence. I was going to say, I think that's how Xbox thinks of Game Pass is no matter what else you consume from a gaming perspective, you're going to have Game Pass, because you can't fundamentally be without it if you're a true gamer.
Exactly. It's like, I mean, for the longest before subs were even a thing that was so big, you still paid your $100 and something for TV and still subscribed to Netflix.
Yeah.
Like that, and that's why Netflix just kind of just caught on, and then everybody else started looking at it. I mean, crap, you see it as we see it, ABC, NBC, Fox, like everybody has their own sub. Like you might as well not have TV, you just buy their sub, but then you pay the same amount. Kind of like, I think Dad said that before. Eventually, you just pay all these subs, and then it's the same amount.
It's the same
TV
thing.
service.
Yeah.
But
my wife did that the other day. She came to me and she goes, forget what she said. She did something like, we're talking about money, and she's like, man, this Hulu thing's getting crazy. It's $100 a month now. And I looked at her, I was like, how the F are we paying $100 a month for Hulu? What are you talking about?
Yeah,
and she's like, well, we have HBO Max, we have Showtime, we have Stars, all these things. And I'm like, who the hell watches Showtime or Stars? And she just looked at me. I'm like, then why the hell do we have it? Like, no.
That's great.
I barely watch TV and I pay the same amount.
I'm like, we don't even, why do you, she manages the Hulu account. I'm like, why the hell did you sign up for them? Like, but
because at the time it was like $2 to add, and then all
it
of a
was
sudden
like
it
free for a week.
And there was one show you wanted to watch, and then you just forget about it, right?
See, that's interesting because that's, the biggest advantage right now that Xbox has is that there are no other services aside from Luna, which is still relatively new, and Stadia's thing. But, I don't even know if that's, you're seeing how that's gone. But I mean, there's really no other services. You look at like Netflix, Hulu, and all these other subscription services, and they go through this thing. I think it's called, I read an article about it, churn or something, where now, before the pandemic, actually, I think there was like 5, that was like the average number of subscription services these people had.
Yeah.
And this is not gaming. This is something else.
Yeah.
This is TV. And now it's dropped down, so people are going, no, we can't do this. So maybe it's starting to average a little bit lower. So you get those people like for HBO Max, for example.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I really just wanted to watch Wonder Woman, so I'm going to subscribe to it for a month and then call it good. So, but right now, Microsoft doesn't have anybody else to compete with.
Yes.
So they've got the only service. Now, what happens when, like Luna, I don't think is, no offense to Luna fans, but I don't think it's going to go anywhere unless they really, I mean, they have the capability, Amazon does, to come out.
Luna and Google have the structure, right?
Right.
They don't have the content.
And the money.
Content is king.
Right. That's what they need.
Yeah.
That's, if Amazon came out tomorrow and said, we're going to buy Ubisoft and all of their stuff is only going to be on our streaming service, what would happen?
A lot of people go straight to it.
Yeah. I mean, there's going to be a ton of people that all of a sudden, are going to jump to it. And I guess that's the plan, So if you want to, but Microsoft's so far ahead of everybody right now because they started that service so long ago, that they are in a great position to, continue that lead, just like Netflix. That's what they are now. That's what they're shooting for. And Netflix, if you look it up, it's really not super profitable. But you've got, it's a short-term play, right, or a long-term play.
It's a long-term play,
right?
Amazon was the same way.
Yeah,
as a company.
Same thing. Yeah, and now look at Bezos with his golden bikinis and stuff. It's insane.
It's what they call reinvestment, right? You're not taking the profits. You're taking all of your revenue and you're just reinvesting it to continue to grow.
Right. And you're kind of seeing that right on Netflix, with all their original shows, with all their, Dave Chappelle for $300 million or whatever.
They have like a new movie every week, right?
They seriously do. Every time I turn on Netflix, there's something
new. And stuff they don't even advertise.
Yeah, and it may not be anything special, but it's still a movie. I mean, and I think that's to everybody's thing. Is like that's what Xbox is going to do. And what's funny, because I was just thinking about it, is that they just partnered with EA to bring EA Play into Game Pass, so it's there, it's done. EA Access is no longer really a thing on X. You can't do it on Xbox anymore. Like you can't just pay for it separately. It just dwindles into Game Pass now, or can you? I could be wrong if you can.
I don't know, but the point's still valid though. Yeah, it's part of the package now.
Yeah. And then Ubisoft, it's like you were saying, Dan, they have their own too. They have Uplay. And what happens if they do a partnership with Ubisoft? And then that is now, right. I mean, it's getting closer. I mean, all these marketing deals, a lot of just things are on the wall, written on the wall.
Yes.
It makes it seem like, okay, this is probably going to happen. But if that does, that would be amazing. Because, Uplay Plus gives you the ultimate edition of the games.
Yeah, at launch.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And talking about value,
yes.
Like, I don't know. And I know people like, oh, Assassin's Creed had bugs, or, well, especially
don't listen
Legion,
to Dan. Don't listen to Dan.
And then like Legion, Legion, you couldn't save or whatever, yeah, that happens. But then you have this amazing game that flew under the radar in Immortals, which I still have yet to play, but apparently that thing has yet to have a bad review.
Phasma hated it, but otherwise,
Well, let me ask you this then. If that's the case, now we start talking about the Luna model, where it's $7 a month for all these games. Then you have to play for Uplay Plus, $15 more a month. If they can bring Uplay Plus or whatever it's called into Game Pass at the cost.
Oh, dude.
Then
I don't see how they do that.
Right. They have to at least go up by $5.
So now,
but I was going to say, even if it goes up $5,
it's still $5, all right. But you're talking about a $15 service.
Yeah, the value is bonkers.
And why, at that point, not only is, that would be insane. But then you look at then you go, well, okay, if I just invest into a Xbox, whenever I can get rid of it on my PC, I can get rid of it on Luna, because I'm not paying $15 extra a month when I can pay $5. That's where it's going to be just the value proposition. I think once you get to that point, can these guys pull it off? And I don't care if they make money. I really don't. If you give me Uplay, yes, I will pay an extra $5 because that is 100% worth it. That's one game.
You're right.
Yeah.
I was sorry. I was laughing at one of the Real Sergeant Tom. What's up, dude? He's like, Uplay bonus, Ubisoft Connect, Uplay Pro. Make up your mind.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, it's
true. Hey, the Xbox has done the same thing too. You got to rebrand every once in a while. So,
some real good chatter here, though. Good to see everyone in chat, man. Thanks for coming out. Cool kill. This is completely off topic, but I've never heard of this show, Your Honor, on Showtime. You guys know this?
I've never heard. I don't have Showtime, so I've never heard of it. So.
Says it's amazing.
We can't do a subscription yet, Ains.
Apparently, I have it and didn't even know, so maybe I'll check it out. But, going back to the whole content thing and content being king, Dan, the point that you kind of subconsciously touched on there, right, is that Xbox does have this huge lead, and they know it, right? Because if you listen to Phil and some of the execs talk about Game Pass, this wasn't something that they just created in a 6-month time frame, right? To create these partnerships, the service infrastructure, how everything works, they said it was upwards of 3 years to get Game Pass launched. So now think of it as an install-based comparison, right? Peter Moore, who ran Sega, who ran Microsoft or Xbox for a period of time, executive level, he always used to say the first new console at launch to hit 10 million consoles wins, because at that point it's like a snowball rolling downhill, right? You've got the marketing, you've got the momentum, you've got word of mouth, you've got all these other things that you can just publish your deals, etc. That's where Game Pass is in the service department right now. It is so far ahead of anything else. But to your point, Dan, Microsoft knows that if PlayStation, or probably not Nintendo, if PlayStation is working on something to compete with that brings PS Plus and PS Now and whatever it looks like, right? If they were to come out and say you can play God of War Ragnarok and Horizon Forbidden West on day one, if you subscribe to this new service, on day one, they're going to have millions and millions of subs, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then as those subs and Luna expands and Stadia expands, like you said, Dan, once it gets to that point and you're looking at $100, $150 a month on subs, then you start to get a little more critical of where your money's going. So that's where Xbox is building, going back to our original point of content and acquiring more studios, right? They want to get to the point, like we said, where they have so many studios creating so much content that is so diverse. Think of Netflix, right? We were talking about every week you sign on, there's a show or a movie. It may be something you would never watch in a million years. It may be something that surprises the hell out of you and it's incredible. And everything in between, because they have to try and hit their whole audience, right? Which is over 200 million people on Netflix, which is nuts. So that's what Xbox wants to do. It's like, we have games coming out every month. There's going to be 10 games. You may like 3 of them, but that's still 3 games in a month that, you can do without if you want, but you're probably not going to. You're going to want to play them. Right. And again, if you think about TV shows, think of The Witcher, how big The Witcher was. The Witcher was the most watched new original Netflix show, right, when it came out. From when they started writing that show to when it aired was something like 18 months, right? You can't do that in the gaming space. It just takes too much time to develop games. And so you've got to just continue to expand and expand. So point being, I think we're kind of all saying the same thing in different ways, is that they have the lead. They know they have the lead, and they have this huge advantage right now. They also have, it's kind of weird to have the advantage and have unlimited funding, because they're just going to put the hammer down. So people thinking that Xbox is done or, like they're going to stop pushing, you're going to be in for a surprise. There's a lot more coming.
Well, here's my question then. Like, do you think, I'll ask you guys both this. We talk about Uplay Plus. Do you think they just go out and buy something like Ubisoft and acquire that? Or do you think they say, okay, this is an option, and start giving people different options for, like Uplay Plus? They're not obviously going to do it for the same price. EA Access is great because it's comes with it, but I guarantee you nobody would have paid $5 extra for it. And if they raise the price, like we're adding EA Access, but we're also people would have been pissed.
Yeah, they know they can't raise the price with EA Play.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and does Ubisoft look at that and go, okay, well, we can just add this service to their service, which would be awesome, and then give gamers the option, and then say, like you said, if PlayStation decides they want to do a similar thing, they can do it on there as well.
Yep.
Like, what's the play for Ubisoft? Assuming, I'm just throwing this out there. I mean, it's just like one of their, because they're the only ones that really have another service that I can think of off the top of my head. I mean, Blizzard does and stuff like that, but and EA Origin and everything, but because EA Access is on PlayStation 5, right?
It is now, yeah.
Right, and there's nothing stopping Sony from going over there and saying, okay, we're going to add you this new service, and EA is going to be like, yeah, more money, whatever, bring it in.
You have to think about the opposite, right? Think about it from a perspective of Ubisoft thinking, what do I gain from this?
Right.
Right. For Ubisoft, Uplay Plus, it's a pain in the ass to say. Uplay Plus is it's only on PC.
Uplay Pro. I think it's Pro.
Did they?
I can't remember. Either way, yeah,
we know what we're saying. The premium service.
Right.
It's only on PC. So
it's on Luna.
To them, you have to think about infrastructure and management costs, right? So what would it take? The executives at Ubisoft would be saying, what does it take for us to get on the Xbox platform and ecosystem? And they'll look at it holistically. So again, this is that combination thing where they don't just look at consoles sold, right? They look at how many people are entering the Xbox ecosystem on a monthly basis. Okay, there's, 100 million, whatever we said, right? How do we get Uplay Plus to them, and what is the cost benefit of that? So we can manually do it, meaning by manually, I mean, we can put up the servers, we can work with Xbox to put up the connection service, all the data, everything that has to do to make it work, right? And we can do that and then charge $15 and see who subscribes to it, right? Which may be X number of people. Or we can just join Game Pass Ultimate, which already has, let's say, 25 million subs at the time, right? Guaranteed. That would already be accessing the content, guaranteed, because they already have it. And Xbox is going to pay us $4 a month, whatever it is, right, for every subscriber. And Xbox is going to take care of all the management of the digital storefront, downloading games, saving everything, transferring data, all this other stuff. Do you see what I mean? So it's
well, they're on Luna right now, so that's an option.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming they went with like AWS and just said, hey, you guys are going to take care of all this stuff.
Amazon probably said, hey, we can do all this for you.
Right.
Just be part of Luna. Yes.
Right.
Xbox is the same thing. That's where PlayStation, in my opinion, will struggle more than Xbox. Xbox has a tremendous advantage from not only user base, but the capability from infrastructure to support continued add-ons from these publishers.
Well, that's the thing. Like, if didn't they come out and say something about using Azure servers or whatever it was? So maybe even if they do that and they end up going like with Microsoft's infrastructure, Microsoft still is going to make money off of this.
Of course.
And people will get mad for some reason about it, but it's a really, I'm interested to see how they tackle it. Like if they start providing options, if they start saying, okay, well, you can get this part,
like a piecemeal.
Just like Hulu, right? Like you got the Hulu based service. You also have Showtime. You also have HBO Max. You pay an extra $5-10 a month for
Apparently, I'm actively doing it.
Right. So am I. Yeah. I've got like unlimited DVR and all this other stuff.
Apparently, I'm on there.
I'm going to go install Showtime and Stars after the show because apparently I have them. I did not.
That's the only thing that I think I question, but otherwise, it doesn't really matter where I play my games. I just play them where I play them. Sometimes it's PlayStation, sometimes it's Xbox, whatever. Doesn't bother me.
Well, and I think personally for us and our core group, who's listening, we're that group. We're the hardcore. We're the people that are just going to have all this stuff anyway. It doesn't matter. It's just interesting to figure it out. But from a mass market perspective, because again, the bigger play here, we keep talking about the bigger play of Xbox because there's such a long game that they're playing, right? Is imagine now as China expands and their regulations kind of allow more growth there, and South Korea and all the markets we've talked about, and Xbox can go and say, hey, you don't even have to buy our console. Just get on your phone, join Game Pass, and by the way, you're getting 500 games, Electronic Arts, Ubisoft, all of our first-party content, other third-party content. Play as much as you want. It's $15, $20, whatever it is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the scary part. I say scary because it is. It's to that point where they could just quickly be like, yeah, they don't buy our console. Cool. We lose money on that anyway. Here's something that we'll never lose money on because it's just a service. You already bought whatever device you have. Play. We'll still have our box if you want to play physically, like remotely. But if not, or not remotely, but you know what I mean. But yeah, it's just it's crazy to know. And like you said, the 100 million thing, they're only at 18, so they're looking at that going, look, we got 80 million people that are playing games on our consoles, PC, and other devices that have Xbox Live. We need to get them into this system.
Yep.
And that's the reason why probably they looked at unfortunately the double increase to try to get them to sway.
Yeah.
Even if it's half.
You're trying to increase that adoption rate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If it's even half of them, well, okay, well, shoot, that's 40 million. All of a sudden, now you're at 50 million subscribers. Come on, and that's what they were probably thinking. But now it's like, that it's no longer a thing. But it's impressive. And like you said, just if they can get this, I know it's all rumor, but the Uplay and all that, that would be, because you got to think, Ubisoft just came out with 3 games in 1 year.
In one quarter.
A month.
In one quarter.
In 1 month, really, from November to December. Yeah, 3 games.
That's true. Yeah.
I mean, I guess Legion was the end of October, but still, it's insane. And they were 2 amazing, huge games, just the broad spec of the game, and then you have Immortals, which is still pretty huge from what I gather. Yeah. So I mean, that's impressive.
Yeah.
So
Ubisoft games have a big audience. And whether you like them or not, you do have to give them credit to the fact they dropped 3 big games, and all of them supported next gen too.
That's also true.
Which is crazy. By the way, Avish says, "Why does the guy have a huge beaver on his face?"
So
Bomber's beard is legendary.
If it's not Ubisoft,
say it again.
I've just seen the rumors. People are just kind of throwing shit out there to see what sticks.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
If it's not Ubisoft they're going to acquire as a studio, then who else?
That's what I was going to ask you guys, just for fun. I think based on what we just talked about, I would be surprised if it was Ubisoft level. Because Ubisoft is, their market cap is big, and their publisher, but they have what we just talked about. They have the capability of kind of being in partnership with Xbox without Xbox actually acquiring them, right? Yeah. And they're also the biggest French publisher and developer, which you start to get into the you know what I mean, the relationships on how you're supported by your country and all those other things. I don't say. But regardless, I thought it'd be fun if you just speculate, not even speculated as a guess, but if you could choose, if you're Spencer and you're talking to Amy Hood, who's the CFO of Microsoft, and Nadella, and saying, hey, I want to go spend $5 billion on whatever it is, the company, what company would you choose? And before you answer, Pong, what's up, Pong? I bet statistics show that people who access a game through Game Pass are more apt to spend money on DLC since they access the game for free mentally. You don't have to bet because that's a fact.
I was going to say that's exactly a fact.
I did, not to self-promote, but it's been like a year and a half, but I did a really deep dive video on Game Pass and all of the statistics that I researched the crap out of. And you would be surprised. Not only do people... they have Game Pass. Not only are they more apt to spend money on expansions and DLC for the game, they are more apt to spend microtransactions in those games because they feel like they got the game for free. It's a mental thing.
I mean, you should see my Sea of Thieves ridiculousness in my purchases. Not even hilarious.
Dan's even involved. And
I am literally
this stuff.
I am your argument. So
no, yeah, I did the same thing for Forza. I bought the big season pass thing or the Ultimate Edition thing just because I have the game for free. you know,
exactly.
I mean, so why not buy all the cars and shit and pay less than I pay for the game?
Yeah, and even on top of that, people think that it hurts sales. In fact, games that launch on Game Pass sell 10% more copies than they do if they're not on Game Pass.
Which is insane.
Yeah. And I think it's because people still have this other mental thing of ownership, right? Yeah. Whether you're buying it physically, if you're an old school head like me who wants to have the physical copy, me and Mo, I think we're the only two left. Or just people just want to own it, right? So that if they love a game, if it ever drops off a Game Pass, they don't have to think about it. You know, they have it. But you get remember you get a 10% discount on buying the game when you have Game
and
Pass.
EA even does it even more. You get the EA discount on top of the Game Pass discount.
You get 20%.
That's 20%. That's ridiculous to buy an EA game. Granted, yes, they haven't brought out anything that's like, you know, probably worth the purchase.
Anthem is...
But hey, Anthem, it's like $8 now. So hey, go get it. But had to bring up Anthem. You're the one that brought it up.
Yeah, I had to. But anyway, just for fun, Mo, what's up, man? Have a fantastic show, you beautiful folks. Finish Ghost Runner, Dan. Don't disappoint him,
dude. We'll talk about that a little bit later. No bullshit.
I want to see you stream it because I've heard that game is hard and you die an awful lot. So I want to see you stream it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see how that goes.
Thanks, Mo. And I was just repping physical games, Mo. I'll keep at it. You do your part. I'll do mine. We'll get it back. Don't worry.
No.
Palm $5 Pompa in the house. What's up, man? Just save money on a movie through the MS store because I had Game Pass. Discount is going farther than games. Interesting. I did not know that. Did you guys know that?
No.
No idea.
It's a really discounts on games to have if you have Game Pass, or is that just like Xbox Live discount?
Yeah, I know Live gives you discounts.
Because I know Live gives you a discount, but maybe hey, if it is, that's impressive there too.
Yeah.
Then it's just
And now they're doing, as you guys know, they're doing like the kind of perks, which is kind of like Twitch drops, Twitch Prime drops. It's very similar. So they're just trying to pump more value into that service. Yeah. But thank you, Pomp. Always appreciate it, man. We'll hit the subway up later. Anyway, getting back to the topic at hand. What was I going to say?
The studio.
What studio? Yeah. What studio would you guys, again, this isn't like some prediction thing. It's more for fun. What would you like to see if you a studio that you think could benefit from Xbox's funding and support and growth?
I have my number. I have my number one is, of course, the one that everybody thought was going to happen and it never happened, and that's WB.
Okay,
that would be, to me, the ultimate. Like that would be almost above. Actually, I would believe that would be above a Bethesda acquisition. Like if you're going on like that Bethesda level thing, like to me, they're one of the only other than Ubisoft, which I just don't see that. I think a partnership more than acquire, but WB would be great. Of course, they're making moves. They just, put the new, not the CEO, but the guy that's over all of WB now, the gaming division. So the different thing is going to be those licenses.
Of course, that's
the only. Yes, that's the only way to make that deal worthwhile. I mean, it is. You have to get those IPs. Now, granted, yes, Mortal Kombat would be huge because apparently they don't want to make Killer Instinct anymore. So, I mean, having that fighter and it's like the top fighter out there, which I know I don't play fighting games anymore, really, but I know that's just a very sought after game when it comes to fighting. So, and they just keep on pumping out content left and right for that game. But to me, WB would be probably that like freaking unicorn.
Yeah, I was going to say, so while you were talking, I knew they had a lot of IPs, but I think people also forget that Warner Brothers encompasses some movie IPs as well. So like Harry Potter, right?
Yep.
They have deals with they have a Game of Thrones on the PC right now. Then of course
Batman.
Goes without saying, you got Batman, and you've got the Suicide Squad, you've got the Gotham Knights game, you've got Mortal Kombat, Injustice. There's so many IPs that Warner Brothers has their hands on. Lego Movie, I'm looking on their site, that it would just be
it's crazy.
That would be a big thing. And Monolith is a developer that makes games almost always published by WB. I'm going off of memory, but Monolith is an incredibly talented studio as well. So if you start to talk about deals that would include some of the development talent under WB combined with the IPs, God, man, the sky's the limit there, really.
Yeah.
And it would be something, I know a lot of people have said that, and this is incredibly obvious, but you saw the strength of Spider-Man for PlayStation and what Marvel heroes or DC heroes for that matter, just superheroes can do in popular culture right now, because it transitions right between popular culture over to games. So to have someone like Batman, I believe, and Dan, you may know better than me, or you might, Bomber, but I believe Batman and Spider-Man, in terms of like popular culture recognition, they're like 1 and 2 on the superhero meter, if you will.
Like them two, and then Superman. Like it's those three, and then like everybody else kind of falls underneath them.
Yeah, by a mile.
Yeah, by a long mile. Yeah, that's why Sony was smart to buy up just Spider-Man back 100%. In the day. I mean, it was very smart by them, apparently. At the time, it's super cheap. So, now these IPs are quite more expensive to get these licensing and stuff. So, especially Batman, especially since we're getting like a new Batman movie every 3 years. But it's that to me, that's why I said WB. I mean, granted, I don't see that happening, but that's just my like.
Yeah,
that would be the bomb. That would be the kaboom, and the hammer drop saying, Xbox is like. Even though there are already like for sure in it, like that would be absolutely like balling. Like you wouldn't need anybody else yet for a while because you have all that power. But
I see a couple people in chat saying Sega. I think that's an obvious one.
Capcom was my other one, just to have over there. I guess because Sega, I still am questioning. I know that's like the one that everybody thinks is like almost a shoe-in. I just don't. I think
Sega's a nostalgic choice.
Yeah, like it's very nostalgia. It's because if you think of like top, I guess IPs, you get Yakuza right now, right? And that's really it. I mean, Sonic, whatever, he hasn't been relevant for years other than the movie. So, like, what else are you getting at other than just getting those Japanese developers and just having it there, right? That would be my only guess, is to have that huge, shoe in. Because I know a lot of people are talking about like the gambling arcades and all that. Well, they're all gone. They're literally shutting them down.
Yeah. Well, that's why the whole people saw the Sega Sammy kind of information that came out about the company and splitting and moving resources around and starting to speculate. Well, this is because Xbox bought them. And really, if you look at it, it's at least in the legal documents, it's really more around their arcades and the fact that COVID has decimated
it's killed it.
Yeah, it's really hurt them badly. So, Mo said I'm drunk. I'm not drunk anymore. I was drunk last night. I'm recovering.
Yeah. But those are mine. Yeah.
Capcom's a big one. The only thing about Capcom is that they have been on the uprise for a couple years now. Their profitability continues to grow. They actually released their fiscal results this week too, and it was impressive. Because if you think about Monster Hunter is a big one, best-selling game they've ever had, Monster Hunter World. Then you have the remakes, the Resident Evil remakes, right? And they're about to obviously hit gold again with the Resident Evil Village. I mean, that's already going nuts. So, I'd have to wonder what they would be worth at a market cap value right now or in an acquisition state. It'd be interesting.
It would be inexpensive. I mean,
yeah, of course. But that's why this is for fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Dan, what do you want to see, man? You want to see some horror games, right?
Yeah, just anybody that does only horror games. Just like from a smaller perspective, I'd be, like you want to look at like studios that have, they can put out some quality stuff. What Asobo, is that one of them, or are they a publisher? Yeah. Okay, Asobo.
It's a small studio.
Right, that's a small studio. I'd like to see them maybe, so it comes down like you go after somebody like where you go like ZeniMax, right? And just then you get like 23 studios, or like THQ Nordic probably has.
They have a ton right now.
Tons. They have tons of them, and Take Two and stuff like that. That would be nuts. I mean, I with Take Two, I question only because like most of their shit is made through probably NBA 2K.
Well, Take Two owns Rockstar, remember?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Was that and Rockstar? Oh yeah, only Rockstar.
I mean, now you're on a whole nother level.
No, yeah. So, but you want to look at something. If you're going for one studio, and I wouldn't have said this 2 months ago, but I would go for CDPR. And go in there, just have like Spencer kick in the door, and just be like, all right, you can, we bought you. Here's a whole bunch of money. If you ever do that shit again, I'm coming, and I'm bringing Greenberg with me. And but really, like like a month or two ago, everybody would have said, no way. I think they could. I think they could go out and buy them.
Well, they could do anything if they're open to it. But remember that
that's a lot for that one studio, because I mean they were upwards of like I think Mo put
they were up
like
to
8 billion in May
or 9 billion. Yeah.
So that's for
Their
one studio
that put out enough games.
Exactly. They have enough people, but again, it's just depending on how you separate. What kind of content are you wanting to create with that one studio? Are you going to be like a like Ninja Theory, like where you're a smaller studio, but they're making 3 different games?
Right. With Ninja Theory, what they're doing and what makes them better is not the games; it's all their technology, right? It's
technology and talent, man.
Right. Like it's not a huge studio, but they brought with them, what they're doing with Project Mara looks insane.
Yeah. Well, and they're growing,
right?
Yeah.
But they're also bringing new tech and new. Yeah. That's the big thing, because now.
That's a lot of what Bethesda was about that people don't realize. They look at the studios, they look at the IPs, which are obviously huge, but Bethesda has a lot of tech that Xbox now has ownership of. Say it again?
Streaming stuff they showed at E3.
Yeah, you've got that. You've got ID Engine. There's a lot that Bethesda has.
Yeah, it's not just about the games, I think. I think it's a lot about, what other stuff do they bring to the table?
Yeah. By the way, I quickly looked this up, and the reason I mentioned Rockstar under Take Two is because people underestimate how big Take Two. Their market cap is $23 billion.
Yeah, there is no way. Like, I mean, as much as I know they could write the check, I don't think Nadal would want to write that check.
Yeah.
I mean, Grand Theft Auto pretty much can make your money back, because that's literally all it is. Like, just let Grand Theft Auto just keep.
Yeah, once Grand Theft Auto 6 hits, forget about it.
Just online. They don't even need a single player game.
Yeah, right. So CD Projekt Red, the other interesting thing there to think about is that they are Poland has a very unique relationship with developers, and their government supports development through a program in Poland. So Bloober Team, for instance, the Medium, right? Part of that development is funded by the Polish government. And so
I'm betting Microsoft has more money than the Polish government.
Well, they probably do, but my point is more that I'm sure there's a lot of things we don't understand around those legalities and what that would take, and maybe not giving that up. And I have no idea, but CD Projekt Red,
Japanese studios, right? Like with their so based in tradition, they have a lot of laws that, a
lot of laws and a lot lot of just unwritten.
Yeah,
rules
around stuff that's like,
we don't do that.
We stay here.
Yeah,
y'all keep yours. I know you got a lot of money, but we're gonna stay here.
Well, that's one of the interesting things that came out this week is a lot of people, in this speculation route are calling for From Software, because Xbox has had the marketing deal with From for a couple games now. They had Souls 3, they had Sekiro, and they have Elden Ring, which we're going to see this year. It should release this year. Really, it was supposed to release in fall of last year, but I think just the obvious delays. But there's speculation of From, and it's like, well, From's one of those weird studios where it's like they're not necessarily gigantic, they're not necessarily this mega AAA studio, but their series is now so iconic that's an interesting thought as well. That you could think about Elden Ring or whatever, Dark Souls 4, whatever whatever they do next, being exclusive to Xbox. That's a crazy thought as it is.
Just having that genre, being big, because I mean, if we just knowing, because what PlayStation has is what Bloodborne is their Souls-like game that's over there.
Yeah, and that IP is owned by Sony, which is unique. Right.
So they can just keep pushing that, which is weird that we haven't heard anything from that, to be perfectly honest. But
I think it's coming.
Maybe that's a little silent thing. I mean, hopefully so, because I mean, even though I'm not a Souls person, I actually enjoyed a little bit of that I played on PlayStation.
Bloodborne, great game.
Yeah, Bloodborne. It just the atmosphere, of course, was that was the reason why I actually liked it more than anything. Yeah, well, it was the atmosphere, but yeah, I think that would be a huge genre lift for what Xbox has, because I mean, and that's why we keep saying it with Game Pass, is that you have every genre of game you can think of, it's in Game Pass.
Yeah,
literally. Yeah. So it's like that would be huge too.
That's the other factor that Microsoft has to consider, is looking at all what their studios are developing and what they're good at developing, what they plan to develop, and how that fits their portfolio. And Phil said that directly, right? They look at many aspects of this, but how does it fit their overall portfolio? And I think that's also why, kind of jumping a little bit, is you may continue to see some smaller developers that are picked up for titles that are more family friendly. Things where it's couch co-op, things where families can play together, things like and I'm not saying Platonic, because they're not being acquired that I'm aware of, but things like Ukulele, right? Who can remake Banjo or some of the Rare IPs, right? Things like that. I think you're going to see that out of some of these groups as well. But going back to From, the other interesting thing I forgot to mention about From, and if you're a Souls fan, you probably know this, but what also makes From unique is that they're games that are highly celebrated, which is Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 3, and Bloodborne, right? And Sekiro for, I'm not big on Sekiro, but they were all lead designed by Miyazaki. Miyazaki is their head. He's their lead. And when they tried to make a game without him as the lead, Dark Souls 2, it just doesn't stand up. There's a reason that Dark Souls 2 is in the Souls community not looked at as highly as 1 and 3 and Bloodborne. So Miyazaki's just one of those developers and designers that has kind of the touch where he needs to be involved. Otherwise, the game's just not going to be impressive. And if that's the case, then what is their potential to keep that quality that we've seen out of those games and expand if he's not involved? I don't know.
That'd be a scary thing, to be honest.
Well, yeah, it's the BioShock with that old Kenny boy.
Or like playing Last of Us without Druckmann. People look at Druckmann. He's like the face of Naughty Dog, right? He is. Whether you like it or not, that's the fact. Yeah. But Naughty Dog's, we've been on this topic for a while now, but Naughty Dog's a great example of what we're talking about with content, right? Naughty Dog is a premier developer, AAA, probably Sony's, what would you say, them with Santa Monica, probably top 2. I would say Naughty Dog's still number 1.
Naughty Dog's number 1. Just been throwing out crap. They got shit going all over the place.
Now, Insomniac
is probably pretty up.
Yeah. But I'm talking about in terms of critically acclaimed AAA, it's Naughty Dog.
Naughty Dog. And it's mainly just their 2 IPs.
Right. But that's my point. So Naughty Dog, they're a couple hundred people. I don't know exactly, but they're a pretty big studio. They're funded by PlayStation. They are their jewel developer. And in a 7-year console generation, they made 2 games.
Yeah.
Right. So if you're thinking about how does Microsoft look at monthly content for Game Pass,
right?
You need tens and tens and tens of developers. You just have to. There's no other way about it.
50 may be that big number, and that's with small guys too.
Or you need that third party you know,
or like we talked about. And I think it's a combination.
Yeah, it's a combination of all of it, because I mean, I don't think at the end of the day they can't afford to just sit there and I say that, but I don't think they can afford to make sure that stays everything afloat to sit there and just buy every big developer that's out there. They can't. So they're just going to buy a lot of small ones. They're going to do a lot of partnerships. They're going to just merge it all together. Here's Game Pass, $20 a month, and have literally, like we said, maybe 2 big IPs, 2 AAA games every 2 months.
Yeah.
You know, how crazy would that be?
Yep. And Pong, another great example, Ninja Gaiden without Hidegaki, which is someone who has been in the news recently, right? Because he has a new studio and came out and said he'd like to work with Xbox again. So
he told Phil happy birthday. It's like, hey, by the way, I'm ready. Come by me.
Hey, yeah, that dude's a riot, man. He's a character. But you gotta love him. But anyway, yeah, I mean, they should, in my opinion, talk to the man. You know what I mean? Action games like Ninja Gaiden are pretty few and far between of that quality.
He shot his shot. Go get him, man.
Yes. Yeah. All right. So we covered that topic at length. So let's jump over to a couple other things we want to talk about too. And one of the funny ones this week was finally Biomutant is back. So Biomutant is a game that got a lot of press when it was shown. Kind of an open world ARPG. It was demoed in 2018. It was at E3 in 2019. They did another video of kind of gameplay in late 2019, early 2020, and it just disappeared. But finally, they came out this week and said it's coming. It's launching on May 25th. The interesting thing here, though, is that it's a last-gen game. They've called it that, meaning that it's launching for PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. And at least at launch, there will not be any enhancements for PS5 or Series consoles. So kind of interesting. Now, what's also interesting for people who may not know this, it's a very small team making that game. So it's 20 people. 20 people made Biomutant. And they came out and said, and it was an interview with Game Informer where they basically said, obviously people are asking, where have you been? Why is this taking so long? So you had 20 people, then you had COVID. And the scope of the game has apparently just blossomed greatly. So one of the examples they gave is that the original script for the game was 85,000 words. And the script now as they polish for release is 250,000 words. So from a script perspective, it's tripled, which is a team of 20 people. That's crazy.
Huge.
Yeah. And they've also said the game's pretty much been done, but they're spending a lot of time on polish and QA. And because it's an open world title and their team is so small, they said it takes a long time to not only find bugs and stuff, but then they, fix them, find more, fix them. That cycle just takes longer because they're a small team. So, and Elu is making fun of me for saying Ninja Gaiden instead of Ninja Gaiden. And that's okay. We'll let him go on that one. But Biomutant, you guys, I did a preview of this. I actually played it nearly 2 years ago. And there is a preview on our site that you can still find. I did a year and a half ago or something. But it actually played pretty well. It looks pretty cool. It's got loot, character customization. It's got like comic style combat where like you hit people and like these big effects come out. And it just seems like it could be a really fun game.
I mean,
go
ahead, Bomber. Yeah.
Sorry, my bad. It looks pretty. I mean, it looks different. You're a different, type of character. This weird little animal thing, like raccoon looking thing. Like I don't know what he is, but he's and I don't know. It reminds me of like Kung Fu Panda.
Yeah.
Like it's exactly what it reminds me of. And shoot, that was a cool movie. So I was like, why not? And it'd be something different. And the craziest part that it's kind of like an open world type game, which is pretty cool. It's colorful. So to me, I think a lot of people always, we always worry about gotta have this lifelike everything. Like, no, we can get some colorful, pretty things. Like look at Immortals, super colorful, beautiful, and it ran great, played great. So I welcome this game. I've been wanting this game for a while too. I never got the chance to play it because I never got to go to E3, but you can go buy that $400 collector's edition.
So I got
I know you.
Yeah, there was a thing last year where
wrong.
Amazon screwed up and made the collector's edition for PlayStation $60. Not the $400 one, but the $180 one.
All right, yeah.
Yeah, $60. So I literally have an order on my Amazon account for $60 for the collector's edition. I'm like, I left it there. I'm like, I'm not touching it. It's staying there.
Absolutely.
Dan, before you go here, here's a couple pictures for you guys. This is from when I played at E3. So you can customize your character, and as you can see, you know, there's a lot that goes into it's a full ARPG, right? You have all these statistics, you have loot, you have all these things that you can modify. But you can also, as you can see on the color wheel on the left, there's you can really change up how he looks, you know, different ways and how you want your guy to look, and it's very cool. Yeah, I really did enjoy my brief time with it. And to your point, Bomber, it actually was really pretty. Now I don't know how pretty it will be now that we've kind of gotten used to what next gen is starting to look like, right? But yeah, I mean, it was fun. So I'm still very excited for this. Sorry, Dan, go for it.
No, I mean, I was at one point super pumped for this game.
Yeah.
I'm at the point now where it's like, I'm going to wait and see how it does and see what people say, because who knows? And if you're not getting a next gen upgrade, don't even come talk to me at this point. You know, that kind of stuff. I ain't got time for that. There's too many nice looking games out there. But if it runs at like a 1080 60, I'm willing to check it. But I'm getting to the point now where I'm getting a lot more cynical about like how these games release.
I couldn't tell.
Yeah. You know, nobody can really. You know, I get sick and tired of these damn excuses all the time. Great, come out, Biomutant. It's been a long time. Whatever. You know, let's see how it launches. Let's see how it goes. Hopefully, it's great for you guys. I wish you nothing but the best. And I might pick the game up, you know, eventually. But like my hype levels, like for everything, have just gone. My expectations are just...
Don't wet blanket on me.
No.
I don't have time for wet blankets.
It's just how it is. It's just how, you know, I mean, if and this is even like pre-COVID. This is, you know, I still get like super hyped. And then, you know, it just seems like every time, even with like Hitman 3, when I was like, man, I'm so pumped for this game, and I played a whole bunch of it, still had all these issues right at launch, you know, that I don't know. It just seems like we see all these failings or, you know, or issues, right? And nobody learns from it. It's like if my son, you know, kept peeing on the seat or something, you know, eventually, eventually he's going to learn not to, right? And it's going to be because of me, you know, or it's going to be because I go in there, I'm like, if you pee on the seat again, I'm going to throw you out the window or something to that effect. You know, you've got to learn from your mistakes, make a mistake, but learn from it. And if you've got, you know, other, you know, examples, you can just go, oh yeah, well that game sucked at launch. Let's make sure that doesn't happen.
Being a small team and being COVID, it feels like, and we'll see because we'll have to see what launch is like, but it feels like that's what they've done. Is they said we don't want to launch in this half-ass state, so
a lot of
taking us longer.
Yeah,
but you know, here's finally the release date, and if it launches well, then it's kind of done what you're hoping.
Right. It's a big ass if.
Yeah, it's an if.
It's true. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like what I keep thinking with the, you know, the one developer for the Infinite game. What's it called? That weird first person. Something Infinite. Can't think
something
of
Infinite. Oh, Bright Memory.
There you go, Bright Memory.
Yeah.
So it, you know, it would the prologue or whatever, the demo was made by the one guy only. Well, now the new one is made by the team that he has of 12 people or whatever. So he has more on it now. But of course, it was supposed to release this year. It's not going to. It's going to next year.
Yeah.
Like that's, to me, is kind of crazy. But then again, we're seeing, you know, they're not a developer that's under Microsoft. Microsoft's not giving them a whole bunch of money to, you know, buy computers and get all the software and where you can work from home without problem. You're not buying their internet. You know what I mean? Like, that's, I think,
they're not funding that development.
Exactly. They're not funding it. They're like, okay, you can come on our system, sweet, but whatever. But it's, I think that's where this whole COVID crap is, where it's hurt these smaller studios because they can't work under, you know, they can't use my PC and build something. You know what I mean? Like it's to that point. So, and I think that's kind of the same reason why we haven't seen some of these other indie developers that have come out, like the last night. Like I've been waiting for that for 2 years now, and
a couple years.
Which, granted, he is, you know, Tim has already said that they're You're still working on it. It's gonna come. We just don't know when. So it sucks. But when I look at lists of games though, and that's where I have to sit back my privilege, I guess, is like, okay, there's a ton of games coming out. They may not be for me, but there's a shit ton of games that's coming out from now until the end of this year, and stuff that we haven't even heard of that are truly coming out. Like that's what's crazy. Like Xbox saying they have 21 exclusives this year.
30.
Or well, is it 30 now?
Yeah.
I know it was 21 or 20 something that they said that was, but I mean, again, 30. Okay, 30. That's ridiculous. That's more than 2 a month. Like, come on. So, whatever.
Very true. And by the way, Walt said, that's what happened to Biomutant. You were hiding it in your beard.
Got a little critters in there.
I mean, Dan, I know we've talked about that extensively. And I think that's why, I keep coming back to, you both kind of brought me back to the point of game delays don't bother me, because there's so many things releasing now that, to Dan's point, if you need extra time, take the time, or just make sure you're releasing in a ready to play state. And I'm not even going to bring up Cyberpunk, but I think that really kind of charged that conversation even more than it had been. So anyway,
the point that was, it's not, and we, delays are one thing, right?
The what?
Delays.
Oh, delays. Yeah.
Delays are, we've come to expect it. It's kind of like a normal part of, Twitter anymore. It's like, oh yeah, this one got delayed. They have some kind of nice, cool, graphic with like, hey, come see it, make sure everybody's doing okay. Just letting you know. Yeah, whatever. Fine. But like you said, make sure when you do release it, it's in. And as gamers, instead of getting on there and be like, it's fine. You know what? Maybe hold people accountable once in a while. Literally no accountability ever. It's always like, well, and then they release it, it's all broken. It's fine. They tried. Shut up.
They tried.
They tried. I still love it, but it was fine. I'm not mad at them. No, you got to hold people accountable. It just drives me crazy. That's the one thing that I can't stand from people when something releases in a broken state. It's just hold them accountable for it. Don't sit there and like, I'm even going to do it because I'm going to keep them
going around. You're right, though. You are right.
Yeah. Be accountable.
Even myself, I need to do a better job of that. But
I do too.
Yeah, I think you're right. Funny enough, you said that. Here's Biomutant one from last year. Yep.
There it is.
I happened to be in the folder for the game and happened to see that. I was like, here's exactly what you're talking about. But anyway,
cool
Biomutan's coming. Biomutan's coming. Hopefully it's good.
You're going to see when those studios release, right? Or when those games release, they're going to be in this amazing state, and you're going to go, wow, 20 guys did this. This is crazy good.
Yeah.
Right. Not, oh, well, 20 guys did this. I understand that 3,000 bugs I ran into. No, that's not how people should be thinking. You don't do that. If your kid goes out and punches somebody in the face, you're not going to, be like, oh, it's fine. Stuff happens. You're a kid. No, you do that again, and I'm going to punch you. I'm going to punch you in the face. What are you doing? Like, you got to hold people accountable. Be accountable. Do it. Please. Please.
By the way, if the way you're speaking right now, you need to watch, if you haven't watched it, Chris Rock's new stand-up or his latest stand-up on Netflix, Tambourine. Watch it.
It's on my wish list or my watch list.
Dude, it's fantastic. But a lot of what you're joking about here, he touches on. It's fantastic. So
I gotta watch
it. So speaking of delays, Returnal delayed.
Damn it.
We got a list of delays, right?
I can pull up a nice fancy screen of them talking about the delay if you want, Dan. But the long story short, they came out this week and said, yes, they are delayed as well. April 30th is their new date. Again, I am looking forward to this one. I really love Housemarque games, and I think this is going to be just a really fun kind of roguelite shooter. But what I also wanted to touch on with this is all these games are being pushed to kind of like end of first quarter, beginning of second quarter. And April and May are just going to be stupid. Like, I don't even understand the lineup. So right now, at this point in time, we have confirmed release dates. I'm going to run through these again. I know we touched on this a few weeks ago, but it's gotten even worse. So you've got I hate to say it, but you've got Monster Hunter Rise at the end of March 26th. And, you don't need to worry about that one. Then you've got Outriders, which I know like Bombers are huge, Outrider Bombers here.
Yes.
And I'm pumped for it as well. That's April 1st. You've got Nier Replicant, which there's a big Nier community out there. Which
your boy.
Yeah,
that's
looking for that.
One on that list.
April 23rd. Then you now have Returnal on April 30th, along with not really our audience, but Pokemon Snap releases that same day, April 30th. Resident Evil Village the following week on May 7th. You got Deathloop, remember, Arcane's new game, May 21st. You now have Biomutant that same week on May 25th. And then we don't have confirmed dates, but we already have heard from the developers that it's likely the release date for Kena, Bridge of Spirits, PS5, Psychonauts 2 on Xbox, and Ratchet & Clank on PS5. All within, what, 6 weeks? 7 weeks?
6 weeks of each other. That's ridiculous.
So I don't understand. And it's not like, some of these games, especially like Outriders, Monster Hunter, Biomutant probably, I don't know about these other ones, but I mean, those are games you're going to be able to put a lot of time into. These aren't 8-hour playthrough games. These are games you're going to put tens and tens and possibly hundreds of hours into. So, yeah, man, I'm excited, but we're going to have to really figure out who's doing what coverage and how we're going to talk about all these different games. It's crazy.
Like Far Cry 6 should be coming out probably around then too.
That's
another potential one.
Yeah.
So there's probably even more that we.
There's a lot more. Those are just the big ones I quickly found, but there's a whole bunch of indie games around the same time too.
Games. You also got the Ascent that's supposed to be coming out hopefully within this time frame too, and which I'm definitely looking forward to. So I mean, there's so much, and it's just games that like a lot of these. I mean, look at Psychonauts 2. It's going to come to all the consoles, which is going to be amazing.
Yeah.
Kena, I still think Kena is like that sleeper. I know it's an exclusive, but I think it's a nice little sleeper. I think it just looks, I don't know. Like, I know a lot of people are like, oh, it looks kiddish. I'm like, whatever, then don't play it.
It looks fantastic to me.
Like, I want to have a PS5 whenever that freaking thing comes out. So, like, I'm gonna fight I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I'm gonna figure it out. But but like you said, like with Returnal, that looks great, and it's a nice AAA game by the developer. Just so y'all know. Sorry, I had to touch on that. God, that shit pisses me off. The Twitter, swear to God.
The best. We're not going to get into it. The people saying that stuff, they don't know anything about the game. It's not like you even know. Like, yeah, ridiculous. But yeah, anyway, I'm looking forward to a lot of these. Outriders is a big one. Obviously, Resident Evil Village. We've talked extensively about that. Returnal, I'm on. Deathloop is Arcane, all over it. Biomutant, Psychonauts, Ratchet, Kena. I mean, I'm literally going to be playing and buying all these games, and I don't know how I'm going to do it.
Yeah, this is going to be insane. It's going to be nuts. Because Nier is going to be one of those games. I didn't get to play the original, so I'm really kind of looking forward to this one. What did you say?
Yeah, Nier's in Game Pass.
Well, that one, Automata. I played.
Automata. Oh, my bad. Okay.
This is the remake of the original.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay. I didn't know
which
that.
A lot of people never got to play. Like Automata made it, kind of brought the series to a bigger audience. Okay. And now the people like Dan who loved Automata can go back and play the original in remastered form. Yeah.
Oh crap! I didn't know that. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, that one's already ready to go. But I mean, we're not going to be short.
No. Darren said no Bitcast in May. Yeah, the Bitcast in May are canceled. We'll see you in June. Yeah, it's crazy. But anyway, I just thought we'd call that out because I think people are they're not realizing already that, it's February in 2 days. All these will be here before we know it. I mean, time flies. And even February already, we've got a bunch of releases coming too. So this is going to be a tremendous year for games, even despite some of these major delays we're going to see. And that's before, obviously, we get the fall, which is going to have Halo and Call of Duty and probably Horizon. And I mean, just huge blockbuster games. Crazy. Awesome. Let's touch on PS Plus. We talked a lot about Xbox Game Pass, and everything going on there. So PS Plus has, I say quietly, but I think it is starting to get some recognition because the games, at least over the next, the past couple months have been really impressive. What they've been offering for PS Plus subscribers, particularly if you're a PS5 and PS4 owner, right, or PS5 owner with backwards compatibility. And they just announced this week that in February, which starts February 2nd, so it's Tuesday as you're listening to this, you get Concrete Genie, which is a smaller first-party title, but a lot of people really enjoyed that game. You get, the big one is Control Ultimate Edition. So Control's now in Game Pass, but it's the last-gen version, whereas on PS Plus, you're going to be able to download for free the Ultimate Edition, which includes also the next-gen enhancement, which is coming the same day. So the next-gen enhancement launches Tuesday as well. Which
so does Division 2.
Does that?
So does Division 2, yeah.
Does the Ultimate Edition launch for Xbox same day too, or
no?
Is that not
to buy, not in Game Pass.
But I'm saying like the version is available.
Yes,
at the same time. Okay,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And that includes, that's going to run, they said, it's kind of strange, but 1440p dynamic, 30 FPS if you use ray tracing, 60 FPS without it. So going to be interesting to try, but I haven't played Control yet, and I downloaded it from Game Pass, and now I saw this, and I'm like, I'm glad I never bought it, because I'm getting the Ultimate Edition with all the next-gen enhancements for free.
I want to talk to people.
Yeah, see.
I bought it on Xbox.
Yes, I
played it on Xbox.
I haven't played.
Then I bought it on the PlayStation because it was on sale.
Yeah.
So this is the original game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You bought it on there. Naturally, you
And-
bought it on both platforms.
hold on. It gets better. Then I went and bought it on the Xbox, the special edition, because it was on sale for like $20. I was like, oh yeah, I might as well get the free up or the $20 upgrade, whatever the hell it is. Bought it there. So now I own 2 editions on the Xbox, and I will soon own both editions on the PlayStation. So I really just need to go get it from the Switch so I can stream it.
Sale doesn't mean you have to buy it.
Buy it. I know.
Yes, I do,
Hey,
'cause
I
love
did
that
this.
game. If I would have known, maybe give us like more than give us like an outline. Like this is what's coming down the road for next year.
Because they can't capitalize on whales like you then.
No, yeah,
They're throwing money at the service.
God, I hate Apple 5 games. But whatever.
You're the guy that walks in the casino who just starts dumping money, and the casino's like, there's our guy.
Yeah, that's the guy. Keep giving him drinks.
Yes, make sure you're taking care of him. So before we talk more about Control too, but also Destruction All-Stars, which, as you know, was originally going to be a $70 launch game, and people were like, and Sony, we think, did the right thing by pushing this, but this is going to be free for anyone on PS Plus up through from February 2nd on Tuesday till April 5th. So you get 2 months basically to download this as a free game.
I think.
Yeah, and it's launching, and they did an 8-minute or around 8-minute kind of mini state of play video for it this week. So if you haven't checked that out, you can find the link on our site, of course. But it just talked about the characters, and it's at its core a multiplayer kind of game where you play with friends and compete teams and whatnot. But I think personally this is the right way to launch this game because you need that audience that gives it a chance. People aren't going to spend $70 to give a new IP that potentially may not be enjoyable in multiplayer a chance. This way you get a whole bunch of people that are going to try it, and some will stick, of course. But yeah, we saw Maneater and a few other games in January, and just PS Plus has been crushing it. And so kind of what you can see in the banner here is saying, is this Sony's short-term answer to Game Pass is to say, we have an audience, we have PS Plus, what we can do is just expand that PS Plus lineup and make PS Plus a good value for the PlayStation audience right now. That's what it feels like to me.
Yeah, I'm wondering, like, is Destruction All-Stars PS5 only? Or
I think so. I'll double check while you're talking.
Like, so it looks like they're trying to push out kind of like what they did with VR, right? It used to be like, okay, you got a couple PlayStation 4 games, and then you got like a VR game, also in that with the monthly thing. They kind of switched over to the PS5 one, being like, okay, you get the PS4 versions of this, and then you can also get this Maneaters, the first one, or Bug Snacks back in the seems like forever ago. That was the first
Bug Snacks.
That was the first game that came out for and it was the PS5 version or whatever it was.
Yeah.
So
All Stars, by the way, is PS5 only. Yes.
Okay, so if that's what they want to keep doing, they are going to run out of games in about 2 years unless they keep pushing it, because there's not a whole ton of like PS5 games that, I mean, I don't know what they're going to keep doing. I mean, maybe that's why Destruction All-Stars is on there for 2 months. They're like, hey, we need a buffer between now and, next couple months. So I'm fine with it because it's, free stuff. Because, again, I'm stuck on that platform for 2 or 3 years. I don't know what it is.
Oh, on PS Plus. I thought you said suck on that platform.
I know, that's what I thought too. I was like, well,
later. That's the after show for the OnlyFans.
Subs, Walt Coin. Sorry, I was trying to pull this one up. I still haven't played Bug Snacks. Am I missing out? The answer is no. We'll move on.
You're missing out on a ton. So, I mean, they've been kind of pulling out the stops. It's never like you never look at it and go really, that's disappointing. Like, I can do that damn near every month on the Xbox free stuff, but that's not their goal anymore. So it seems ever since Game Pass came out, those free games, which are technically still free, they just kind of been going down in quality. You start getting weird games that you never heard of.
Yeah.
That's fine. PlayStation, they don't have Game Pass, so they can't lean on anything. So they have to kind of put these things out to kind of entice their customers. So I'm fine with it. Also, I'm pretty sure if anybody in the chat wants, CD Keys has that $30 1-year PS Plus right now. Yeah. So,
and they've been, there was a time where you couldn't get PS Plus for less than, high 40s. I mean, I check the stuff all the time. Like that was the lowest ever, but it was usually in the 50s. And now regularly you can get it. It was $28 a couple weeks ago for a year, which is crazy. But I think that goes back to the same thing is they're trying to keep people as a PS Plus subscriber and incentivize people to stay in it. In my opinion, probably because they are working on an evolution of the series. We've talked about that, of the service. I mean, sometime in the future as PS5 kind of gets a bigger hold.
Well, yeah, look at what they're doing now with PS5 is you have the PS collection, which is
free. Yeah, exactly. Which is fantastic. You don't pay
anything extra for it, and you get like 10 games right now.
I think it's even more. Yeah,
maybe more than that. That are all in, I say enhanced, but give you the 60 frames per second version of these games, and that's huge. To me, that's a big bonus to a service you should already. I mean, my personal opinion now is definitely should have these games that are coming out. I mean, you can't say that having Control Ultimate Edition, Destruction All Stars, which I think is going to be a blast to have with friends.
It looks just like a fun time.
Does.
Yeah,
absolutely. Like I could see mindless fun with that. Yep. And then Concrete Genie, maybe a little, small little thing, but a lot of people loved it, and then a lot of people loved it in VR. So there's so much that they're doing so well, and I think that kind of forced Xbox this month to do better because their games with gold is definitely a lot better than it has been. But definitely,
do you think that's because it was timed with the price increase?
Oh yeah, it was 100%.
Oh, absolutely, dude, absolutely. They were like, look, we're going to give you a lot more for double the price.
Yeah.
So I guarantee
we're going to give you 20% more for double the price.
Absolutely. Like next month, I guarantee you will not have 5 games.
They're going to be like, no, we're going to back that off.
Yep. They're going to back it up. And you're going to get like,
you get nothing.
You get nothing because we gave you too much.
Here's Lego Cities for the 360. Enjoy it.
Like it's crazy. Like Sony's been on it, like you said, for the last 3 months have definitely been their biggest. Now, like last month, unfortunately, I didn't get anything really because I already owned it on Xbox. So I was like, well, shit, I ain't gonna double dip because that's not what I do. But it's still, even if it's free, I'm like, I already own it, so why download it? But it's just definitely Sony's doing a good thing. And like you said, if they get something that's in the works like Game Pass, especially if they throw in, I don't know, like say if Ragnarok actually does come out, and that's one of their first games, they just entice you to get that service. I will buy it 100%.
You get millions of people on day one, no doubt. Yeah. So shout out to Mike over at NLG. What's up, brother? Good to see you. And Dan, I don't know if you want to touch on this real quick because Cool Kill's asking about Hitman VR. I mean, we're getting there, right? We're going to be talking about our currently playing. You have played it though, and you're reviewing it for us as well with VR kind of experience. Yeah. You touched on that on Wilmie Show the other night briefly.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to talk about that now, we can. We can segue into it here in a little bit.
Yeah, we'll get to that in just a minute. But God, damn it, there was one more thing I was going to add on that, on the PS Now thing. I lost it because I was looking at other stuff. Don't matter.
Good job.
Couldn't have been that important. We can lead into that because I was going to go. We'll just move into open discussion, guys, and currently playing. And if you feel like you need to rant about something, go for it. But Dan, I'll start with you since we've got the Hitman conversation going, man. I'll talk about Medium here in a bit too, and other things that we're playing because I did play some Pathless as well, Dan.
Nice.
But anyway, Hitman 3. So how's it going? You still loving it? I know you said the VR is a nightmare because of the way backwards compatibility works, but go for it.
So it's kind of like there's two sides of this coin. What they did from a technical standpoint by bringing every single mission they've done from Hitman 1 all the way through 3 and put it in VR, and it looks amazing. Just I couldn't believe it. I was like, holy crap. They really kind of nailed this. And then you start getting to the control part. Well, the mechanics, first of all, you have to have the PS4 version if you have a PS5. All right, so you got to download that. So essentially, if you want to play regular Hitman 3, you'll have 2 versions of the game downloaded. All right, and a ready small, tiny little hard drive. So that's strike one. Strike two, you have to have a dual shot controller because it makes you use the move. It's kind of like a hybrid move / controller.
Well, PSVR requires the light bar.
Right. You have to have that. So the DualSense doesn't have it. So if you happen to trade in your PS4, and all the controllers and don't have one, you're going to have to go buy another controller just to play it. Luckily, my kids have one, so I just borrowed theirs. Does not use the move sticks, which it should. I mean, if there was a game that called for it, aside from like Beat Saber, this one could have used them. And it's so finicky. Like, this is partially my fault, but I almost threw up because I turned all the safety measures off. I was like, the hell with that. I'm just going to play this. Like, that was a huge mistake. So make sure you play with like all the VR, settings on, at least to some extent. It's so hard to control is the problem. And there are some really cool aspects of it. Like the shooting is really good, but I barely shoot in these games, because it's not really what you're supposed to be doing. There's times every once in a while, but for the most part, it's they tried again. They tried to bring something, and I'm not sure. I know it's only on PSVR, which is weird. They didn't make it available for the PC, So, but I can see where they were going. I think there's just this part where it just doesn't line up right. It just like. It's the controls. The controls are so rough that it got to the point after about 2 hours, I was just like, this is driving me crazy. Plus, everything was taking twice as long to do. Hitman sometimes is a game where you have to be fast and you have to, you might be walking, hidden behind something. You got to toss a coin over there to distract a guy real quick, zoom in.
All that has to be precise.
Yes, it's a very precise game. So. Yeah. So when you have to go in, put your hand down here to access your whatever.
Put your hand down where?
You're down here. Right down here. There's a little white circle that you stick your hands in.
No, I'm good. I like that your camera is.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I can show you.
No, we're good. We're good. Carry on.
You put it right in there, and then you got to like grab it, whatever it is that you want to. The controls are a little bit different than your standard game. I'm not sure why they moved some of them. They like these R1 bumper things. I don't understand. A lot of VR games do it. But I think they did okay.
Sounds clunky is what it is.
Right. It's not Hitman. It's just really weird. So it's not Half-Life Alyx from what I've seen.
No, we've heard that's the other end. It's the pinnacle.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't think it's the worst VR game I've ever played by a long shot. I mean, I think there are some far worse ones, but I mean, if you're like on the fence because of that, like kind of I was, I wouldn't. I mean, play it wherever you want to. If you want to play on the PlayStation 5, fine. If you're looking for just the VR experience, then you're probably going to be disappointed.
Yeah. I know Cool Kill said above, he's thinking about jumping into PSVR, and should he wait for 2? In my opinion, you've missed the boat on PSVR. Wait, my opinion would be wait, unless you're going PC and getting a higher end unit. I'd wait for PSVR 2 because trying to play PSVR now, they're not really
It's like they're
That's not PlayStation's focus. Their focus is forward. So, by the way, Faz says, why do I look different today? So I got a funny story, and Pampa kind of nailed it. So here's a funny story, especially for someone like you, Bomber. So last night I'm get out of the shower, and I'm getting ready to go out to my daughter's house, and I trim my beard with a clipper, a claw. And I usually use like a 5 or 6 claw, 7, whatever. So I'm standing in front of the mirror, put the claw on, and I go, wah, and I stopped and I looked in the mirror and I'm like, looked at the claw. I put a 2 on by accident.
Yep, that'll do
and
it.
I had just a stripe through my chin because I hadn't shaved all week, and I was just like, oh my God. So anyway, I had to do the rest of my face with a 2 claw, and that's why I look different, because I shaved pretty much my entire beard off last night, which I haven't done in years. So
Yeah.
Why the hell did you have a beard? Where the fuck have I been? You had a beard?
It's always
well, I didn't have a bomber beard, but yes, I had
it's like thick. It's just a thicker.
Yeah,
it's
just
not
a scraggly
Man,
something.
I don't know where I've been. I gotta really find some kind of medication.
Don't I see you every week?
Yeah, I mean, that's why I'm like, where in the hell did he have a beard? Usually it's just like I also have it. It's a very windowed, very small window. So maybe I just didn't notice. I don't have it on like 65.
It's a lot shorter today, believe me. When I first did it and kind of did this, I was like, oh my God, what happened?
Gotcha.
So, anyway, that's neither here nor there, but it's pretty funny.
Done that before.
That's the worst though. Like I just did that and of course, like an asshole, I don't start like, in a back corner here. I went straight through the middle. Like
so you can't even blend it at all.
No, I was like, I have no choice. I just got to do the whole thing now. Yeah. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It'll grow. The length I had it, I'll grow by next week. It's nothing, but it's just funny. All right. So that's Hitman 3, Dan. I know you're working on the review. That will come this week sometime. So keep an eye for it. What else you been playing? Bomber, what you been playing, man? Anything good?
I guess depending on who you are, really the only thing I've had time to play has been Cyberpunk still.
Nice.
Yeah, and so it's just I don't know why. I think I'm almost at 80 hours, so literally probably the most I've played a single player game ever in my life.
Nice.
Like literally. So it's just been fun with it, but Call of Duty, I don't know why. Again, now, of course, Modern Warfare, not Cold War, because I didn't buy that trash. But I did buy. Of course, I've had Modern Warfare, so I've been playing for some reason a good bit of that. I don't know why.
You've been playing the regular MP or the Warzone, or both?
Actually, both. Mainly the multiplayer. I just
okay
because I like the mindless fun with that. But have been playing Warzone a little bit, and I've had a lot of fun with it.
You play on Xbox or PS?
Yeah, Xbox.
Yeah, we've never played that together, man. I need to jump in because it is. I haven't played it in a long time.
And it's so tough. I've tried playing and I play solo because I don't like random teams.
Sure.
Because usually the randos are terrible, or they just say the worst things in your ear, and you're like, yeah, I just could quit anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the solo play, it's tough. Like, yeah, it's so tough. But it's just fun. I don't know. I guess it's rewarding, especially when you get like good. Like, cause I posted one on Twitter where dude's on top of stadium, and I'm like quite a few hundred yards away, and I just shoot him once, and he's dead. I was like, yes. Like, I don't know. It just makes me. That's a little bit more rewarding than regular multiplayer, where you're constantly dying and coming back and killing people. So, but yeah, I'm 100%. I'm down to play because I love Warzone, really do. Now, of course, I don't have Cold War, so not able to get use the guns that are from Cold War.
Yeah, no, Warzone's really good though. I mean, I think I'm a PUBG guy at heart because I'm slower, more tactical. But I think in terms of in Battle Royale, the implementation of Warzone's been really good, and they've done a good job at updating it too. So yeah, I've never been a big fan of the Treyarch Call of Duty games personally, but Modern Warfare was excellent. And Modern Warfare, we talked to Benji. Is it last week or the week before, Dan? We talked to Benji, but he said Modern Warfare is the best-selling Call of Duty of all time now.
Yeah, it was last week. Yeah.
I can see that. I mean, it's to me, it's just good. Even the multiplayer itself is better.
Yeah,
it feels better.
Yeah,
that's really it. Oh, what happened to Dan?
Gotcha. No, I was saying Bizzle, Ains Beard Support Fund.
Yes.
Yeah. Bizzle, thanks, man. I'll work on it. Yeah, well, Bizzle's another epic beard guy like you, Bomber.
Oh, dude,
He's
no,
got
his
epic
is
beard,
on
dude.
another level.
Yeah,
His is on another level. His is pretty epic.
That's awesome. So thanks, man. Always appreciate the support, Bizzle. Dan, other than Hitman, have you actually finished Hitman 3, the core missions from Hitman 3?
I finished it 3 times. So technically, yeah, you heard me. So originally I had the games on the Xbox, but I wanted to play the PlayStation version of it. So
yeah,
for VR, huge mistake, or not, depending on who you ask. So I ended up they had like a deal where you bought like Hitman 2 on the PlayStation, and
are you talking about deals again that you had to buy?
Yeah, $20, which is fine, but you got everything. Like everything from Hitman 2 and the Legacy Pack and all that stuff. So basically,
that you already own
one that I own on the Xbox.
Yeah.
So, but what the hell is the point of seeing these games with the updated graphics, with the updated everything else? I figured I'd play through the entire thing and and see what I can do. And I actually did that about a week prior. So on the Xbox, I think my assassin level is like right around 100. On PlayStation 2 or 4 or 5, 6, whatever it is now, I'm at 198 or something.
Is that good? I don't know.
That's a lot.
Okay.
In that small period of time, what I did, I played through Hitman 1, Hitman 2, and Hitman 3 twice. Now, granted, you can do it really fast. I mean, you could literally, I think, beat Hitman 3 in a few hours if you really wanted to. I mean, technically, you could probably do it in 30 minutes.
Because the fun is really about the variety and the way you can tackle things, right? So the replayability is probably great.
Right, and you would miss out on a ton. There are challenges to do, and those things that fast, But for me, it was always let me try to figure out the story. Then I started really getting into the challenge aspect of it. Like, okay, so try to kill this person in a very specific way.
Yeah,
assassinate this person. So that's kind of what I've been doing, and I played through it. Hitman 3 I've only played through I think twice, but I went back and played, like when I play a mission, I'll play it a couple of times through just to kind of see some different things. When I started playing it, there was an area on one of the Hitman levels, the original Hitman, that I didn't even know existed. I was like, holy crap, what the hell? This is a huge chunk of it, because I never explored that area. So the biggest thing with Hitman's always been like their level design and being able to tackle it from several different ways. I don't know anybody else that's done a stealth game better, save for maybe Splinter Cell or something like that, but they're pretty close for me.
Yeah. And I saw, funny enough, Hitman's another one where IO came out and said they've already recouped their development and marketing budget as well. So highly profitable, which is awesome. It
doesn't surprise me.
By the way, Pampa's right on point here. $5 super chat, Dan. Dan, there's no problem paying $20 game sales back to back, but don't ask him about a hypothetical Game Pass price raise.
Absolutely not. No way.
Deals for Dan.
I'm still on my $1 thing. Yeah.
You still on the $1 thing and still complaining about a hypothetical price increase.
Yeah, I don't want any more price increases.
My God, you're killing
me. Why would you want that? Why would anybody want that? And just go, yeah.
No, I don't want it. But the point is, you'll pay $20. You'll buy games on 2 platforms for no reason.
Yeah. Well, that one. I had a reason. It was VR.
You screwed up with the Control thing, though.
VR.
He owns 4 copies of Control.
I do own 4 copies of Control. I only paid for 3 of them, though.
Good God, man.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah. There's several games like that, like Bioshock, I own everywhere. The Witcher 3, I own 3 different platforms.
Bioshock and Witcher 3, that's allowed.
Yeah.
You're good. You're good.
Gosh. How about Assassin's Creed?
Why is my beard becoming such a big?
I don't even know how this thing is.
Show up better. That's it. I'm done. I'm done. I'm off camera. I'm going to Avatar. Going to Avatar. You can't see me anymore.
You have a beard in the Avatar.
Well, that's like 2.5 years ago, that picture.
That's an old picture.
Why do you look so mad?
He was pissed.
I can't win if I'm on camera or in Avatar form. You guys are killing me.
You look angry, man.
Maybe I was.
Look at it's like somebody just like, yeah. Maybe they were like, Game Pass isn't a good value.
Oh, shit.
Really?
Oh, my God.
Yeah,
that's it. No more camera. This is an audio only show from now on. Screw you guys. I'm done.
I'm going off too. I'm I played that, and I played Hitman. We'll get to the review. I'll let you. I'll throw that up.
Yeah.
I started Ghost Runner because Mo told me I needed to play it.
I've contemplated getting it too. I just haven't had time. But Mo loved it. It was like his game of the year.
Let me tell you something. That game is no joke hard. Like
Mo said, he died 12. I don't know if he's still in the chat. Something like 1,200 times.
It was more than that. He said it was like 24 or something. It was something ridiculous. That's throughout the whole game. I might hit that number at the first level.
I was gonna say,
it's so like the controls
get hit once,
are
right?
so counterintuitive.
What'd you say, Bomber? Sorry.
You just get hit once and you die, right?
Yeah, it doesn't take much. Yeah, it's basically one time. It's you have to really go in and kind of change the controls if that's something you do. Like the jump button is like mapped to the right bumper, I think. Like by default.
I think that's because you have to. The movement's so fast, right?
Right, but you don't. I mean, I've turned it to the X button. I think they have an option to change. They have like 4 different types of controls. So I changed it to like where the X button is jump. Everything else stays the same, and it works fine. Then you have to turn the sensitivity down because, man, like I'll be like trying to hit at somebody. I almost inevitably will land behind them and or off the cliff or off an edge somewhere. That's just maybe because I suck. Probably 90-10 because I suck. But it's really fun. I mean, the music is really good. And like you don't get like super mad, but like there comes a point where you just have to like go, okay, let me just take a step back, breathe, then come back to it. So I still haven't passed the first level, but I played like an hour or 2 yesterday, which is pathetic. But it's not making me angry.
Okay. Well, supposedly like you die, but it's like it's right back, right?
It's like
you're
instant.
Oh yeah. Well, you can turn that on and off too. I think you can have it where you automatically pop right back, or you can hit like triangle. So it's like it's a toggle option. And then I played the medium for about 3 hours. I put another hour into it, and that is just not me. It's not because I just can't get into it. Like I'm trying so hard. I'm like, God, this is boring me to fucking tears. And I want to punch something. It's so boring. It's not even like I understand like those kind of games, like kind of not walking simulators, because it's really not a walking simulator because it's a gorgeous game. I love looking at it.
I called it a narrative driven story game with horror-esque elements. I know that sounds ridiculous, but that's really what it is.
And the scares, I had a couple of them, but they're not like crazy.
No, I was just gonna say this is a game you can get through. There's like 1 or 2 jump scares in the whole game, and the scary parts of the game are more kind of just creepy. They're not like it's not gore, it's not horror. I think non-horror people can get through this game. But to your point, the game is a story. It's a storytelling game that is narrated the entire game all the way to the end by the main character. And it builds like most Bloober Team games. It tells that story. It uncovers as you go. So there's a big, quite dark turn about halfway through where some shit happens. And you're like, okay, here's the Bloober Team. Because Bloober Team deals with some dark stuff. And then it builds from there, and you just learn more and more and more, all the way literally to the very final scene of the game, which hits the credits, is the end cap. That caps off the story. So it's a complete journey that, but to your point, there's no guns. The inventory is minimal at best. There's no huge gameplay elements here. You're not building anything. You're walking, narrating, and learning a story.
Yeah, I mean maybe that's my problem, and it's not. I'm not taking anything away. I'm not saying it's a bad game because I can't give you that. I just know that my time spent with it, it was hard for me just because, you play games similar. Like if you grab me like right from the beginning, and then it kind of slowed down, towards the middle. You've already got my attention, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna push through.
Yeah.
Right now, it's hard for me to kind of keep pushing because, I'm like, I can just go play another level of Hitman and then I'll be happy. But that's to each their own.
You gonna play it on PlayStation or Xbox? No, what? I'm kidding. Hitman.
I have Hitman 3 on Xbox. Though
No, but you're right. And that's not just medium. Because I love Bloober Team games, and they're it's almost like, you know, those movies where it opens and the first 5 minutes are specifically meant to just shock you and get you engaged in the movie. Right. And there's games like that too, that have kind of events that happen right at the start, and then to your point, Dan, you're engaged. And then once it slows down a bit, it's okay because you're already in there. Bloober Team definitely does the opposite. They are a very slow burn at the start. And then they just build and build and build to a climax. It's almost like an uphill thing. Blair Witch was the exact same way. The first couple hours of Blair Witch, you're walking around the woods, looking for stuff, figuring out how to use your dog, and it's very low key. The final hour of Blair Witch is mind-bending. Like some of the best horror I've ever played. So that's just the way their games are.
Mm-hmm. Man, yeah, I mean, I'm going to try to push a little bit farther, hopefully get to it. But, you know, there are games definitely that I played that, you know, just had like the worst, like some of the parts you're just like, God damn, let's go, man. Let's go. Why are we slowing down when you did such an amazing job setting everything up? You know what, like Death Stranding, it was like that. There was a chunk of that game where I was just like, what in the hell, Kojima? You had like all this cool stuff, and then now it's just for like a giant chunk, and then it picks back up.
I know, I'm shocked.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's Kojima. You know, but that's the game. At least they got me into it. You know, at least they did that initial, you know. I knew it wasn't going to be much of an action game, you know, and I like the camera, you know, and that you know, whatever they call it, the static camera, the kind of
camera angles. Yeah.
Camera, yeah.
I put that in my review that sometimes it'll frustrate you while you're moving around, right? But it allows the developer to kind of set the scenes, almost like stage setting. And it gives you, as you play through, especially some of the later ones with the split, you know, the 2 dimensions. There's some beautiful, beautiful scenery that they create with it.
It looks insane.
That's why I can't wait.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Bomber, I know you're not a big horror game fan either, right? Oh, Bomber's in the side comment. We'll come back. So, so a few hours in, Dan. Okay, so yeah, you have to let me know if you push through. It's not super long. I want to say,
that's what
I play pretty slow. I think I missed one collectible. So there's no chapter select. You can't go back, so it doesn't matter. But I want to say maybe 8 hours, something like that, for the whole game.
That's not bad.
No, but sorry, Bomber. I was saying I don't think you're a big horror game guy either, right?
I'm not, but I will say this is one of the only games that truly intrigued me to want to play, because I had a feeling it wasn't going to be scary. I just figured it would be kind of like Hellblade wise, where it's not really scary. It's just, it's got some, you know, that mind stuff, you know, the psychological side of it, which is still fine. I mean, yeah, it has a little creepiness to it. I can handle creepy. Yeah. I haven't gotten to jump into it. I was going to last night. That didn't happen. Wanted to this morning. That also didn't happen. So maybe tonight, you know, but that probably won't happen. I'm going to try it because I want to. For one, it's a new game. It's unique. It's different. Why not? And
it's free. It's on Game Pass.
Yeah, right. Yeah, there you go. It's on Game Pass. And I will say that I don't care what anybody says. Like, yeah, it's on Game Pass. So I'm going to try it. I don't care. So there's really no point for me not to. But it looks like it has some little cool elements. It looks beautiful from the screenshots I see everybody showing. So definitely looking forward to at least seeing if I care for it. I may not. I may absolutely be just like Dan, like, yeah, no, this is not for me because it's too slow. And it could be. But then again, if there's a lot of story that can grab me, it may have me. So
yeah, it's I know Mo was saying the same thing. We talked to him in chat, and he was like, I was kind of wondering if I was going to get through this. And then he got to the hotel, and you meet another character. And that kind of leads you on to a thing. And then, I don't know, another hour or two past that is when it kind of, you see the really dark turn it takes. So, I recommend it. My review, Jesus Christ. My review is on the site. So take a look at that if you want. There, as always with our reviews, there's no spoilers. So you can feel free to read it, you know, and just give you kind of a, an insight, some insight into what it's like. So, but yeah, I really enjoyed it. But then I knew kind of I would. I love their games. I know how they make their games, and I really enjoy them. So that said, I don't know I will say I gave it a good score. I gave it an 8. I think it's a really good game. Really enjoyed it, but I don't know if it hit me on the same level as I was hoping it would.
Yeah.
I don't think it's incredible. Really love what they did with it. The dual perspective is really cool. Technology wise, it's really impressive what they built. And I did like the story, and I loved the elements it touched on. But yeah, I honestly think if I had to pick between the two, I think Medium was cooler to play, but in terms of story and impact, I think Blair Witch was stronger, in my opinion. But anyway, yeah, it's a cool game, so check it out. What else is out? Dan, I started playing Pathless.
Good.
It's very smooth. The art style is very simple but very pretty, and it's unique for sure. So I'm about halfway through the second area. Kind of beat the first major boss. Got to the second area. I don't know. I feel kind of like you with Medium. It's like it's fun. It's smooth. It plays well, but there's just nothing grabbing me to keep going. So I'll have to see if I push through on that one or not.
Yeah, it's not very difficult either. Like, so if you're looking for like a puzzle game that's going to be challenging your intellect, it's
very straightforward.
Yeah. It takes about 5 minutes to figure them out.
Yeah. I haven't had any trouble. It's just, I'm struggling a bit, but we'll see. I'm debating. I went through Medium, got the review up. I'm debating because Little Nightmares comes out in a couple weeks, and I just don't know if it's worth diving into Hitman 3 now, especially considering I've got so many other things I still want to play. Like I want to go back and finish Ghost, like we talked about, and some other things. So anyway, but
Hitman 3 with that game, if you own them all, it's a really nice game to kind of just jump in and do a mission or two. You know what I mean? It's one of those games where it's like, oh, I can just kind of jump over here and pop this on for a little bit, and then go back to whatever I was doing. There's been a few games like that where it's just like, oh, this is nice. I can just So it's separated. Each one of them. It's just the you almost need to play through them all. I mean, if you've got them all, there's no reason to just go, okay, I'm just going to do one or two. Done.
This is a stupid question. I should know this because we've talked about it a lot. Is there an easy way to just buy? Is there like a Hitman 3 Ultimate that just has everything in one package?
Nope. You have to buy Hitman 2 with the Legacy pack.
It's okay. You lost me. I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm not bothering. If you don't make it simple for me to buy your trilogy, then I'm good.
You don't have Hitman? Well, you should have Hitman 1.
Right? I may. It was PS Plus at one point,
that was
right?
That was Games of Gold.
Games of Gold. Maybe I do. I don't know.
Yeah, so really all you need to do is buy Hitman 2. Here, listen, I'm going to throw this out there for anybody that's in chat that wants to try Hitman. GameStop takes back used copies for 7 days, right? No need for anything else. Go buy Hitman 1. Go buy Hitman 2 used at GameStop because fuck GameStop. All right?
Hey.
Take them home and download them on your machine. All right? Then return them and get your money back. You just bought Hitman 1 and 2. Just make sure.
Scam cast. What are we doing here?
I'm throwing it out there. 30% off. Use code Dan7. Yeah, it's not that hard. I mean, this is stuff like you remember Rock Band? They had that thing where you transfer over content. Yeah, I did that. I went to GameStop, bought Rock Band 1, took it back 2 hours later. As soon as I got everything downloaded.
Oh my god!
Because I hate those guys.
Cool Killed said, get Hitman Game of the Year $9.99, Hitman 2 Gold $19.99, but Dan's trying to get me to scam people. GameStop, we're not even going to talk about GameStop with what's going on this week, but
they can afford it now.
Yeah, right.
You ain't
I don't know.
That's not quite how it works, but yeah, it's funny. But
illegal. I mean, you're really not doing it. It's like, I didn't really enjoy these two games. But you have to have Hitman 3 installed and ready to go because it recognizes that you have it there. So
I got it. Yeah. I get the gist of what you're putting down.
It's what I do. It's what I do.
The trending word, right?
Yeah.
That is actually cool though, because there are times, I think many of us, right, where like you sit down, you don't know what to play, and you only have like half an hour. You know what I mean? And it's like, do I want to jump back into Legion and try to knock some things out? Like mentally, the time it would take to get back into that world and figure out what I'm doing and stuff, it's just 30 minutes isn't enough. So the way you said it, you can kind of just jump in and play a mission and be done with it and then come back to it. Like that's enticing to me.
Yeah.
Cool. Guys, anything else you want to touch on?
I'm good, man.
I really have nothing. I know that's surprising, but I currently don't have anything right now.
Well, we've got so we've got the Medium review up. Check that out. You've got one other thing. Cloud put up the review of God's Will Fall. It's an indie game, but it just launched yesterday, I believe. And he spoke with the developer, got early access to it, did a great review for us. Check that out because it may be you guys who like kind of challenging indie games. It's supposed to be really, really good. He really enjoyed it. So check that out. What else? If you haven't seen it, we have Asa from Game On Daily. The industry perspective chat I did with him is up on the channel. That went live earlier this week as well. Really appreciate the support you guys have given me for that new kind of series. Been a ton of positive feedback, and I didn't expect it. So, thank you very much. And in that same vein, the channel is just about to hit 6,000 subs, I believe.
Yeah.
So thanks again for that, everyone who subs and checks us out. What I'm trying to coordinate is outside of Bitcast. So obviously Bitcast is every Saturday, is to have a weekly video in between, like every Wednesday, Tuesday, something like that, to supplement, whether it be a new statue or some type of other video in a chat like with Asa or Cog, stuff like that. So just, really appreciative of all the support. And it's been fun. And Biz will know we cannot touch on my smooth face one more time. We're done with it. We're done with it. I'm gone. I'm gone.
I don't understand this. I need to go back and watch some of these episodes on the big screen because
I promise he has
where the hell did Ains have a fucking beard?
It's a shorter beard, but
I was going to say it's a short beard. It's not like,
but it's what you can see it though. Like it's darker. It's not as skin like he is right now.
Yeah.
Like a 5-guard,
big ball of skin,
huge, right?
What?
Like a 5-guard is like almost an inch, if not bigger. Is that right?
I used to use a 7.
That's like a 1 5/8 or something. That's a long thing, right?
Yeah, it was a decent length. You just are blind, apparently. I don't know.
That's another thing that I need to get checked.
This is why you play a game in 4K and can't tell.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, that's exactly it. I understand. I got to go back and look. I'm going to go back after this and check out. So real quick, shout out to Asa for helping me out with some VR stuff. Help me out. So real quick, shout out to him. Thank you very much. Got everything figured out, I think.
Nice.
So hopefully we'll get that soon. Quest 2 on the way.
Nice. Yeah, Ace is awesome. Love the guys over at Game On. I already told Gaz that I have to have him on at some point for a chat. I mean, they've obviously been on Bitcast, but it's fun to sit down and talk kind of just about the industry and media and, all the other topics we've covered. So, those have been really fun. So check that out if you haven't. Phasma said he's on his show. I know Game On's show goes back, back to back with ours on Saturdays because they're in England and they do a nighttime show. So check that out. But anyway, thanks for coming by, everyone. Bomber, man, always a pleasure. I mean, we talk every day as it is, but it's always awesome having you actually on the show. So I know obviously everyone watching knows Gaming Beyond the Box and follows you guys, but go ahead, shout out where we can find you, what you're up to.
Of course, you can find me every Wednesday night on Gaming Beyond the Box at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Of course, on Twitter, HRBomber1414, and then PlayStation, Xbox, HRBomber. But yeah, that's where you find me. If you don't find me there, I'm sorry. That's really that's it. That's really all you're gonna find me at. But no, I appreciate y'all guys for definitely bringing me on.
Of course. Dan, Dan, again, you're squinting and moving towards the camera. Like you're not inspiring confidence in the vision argument here.
I'm looking at your face from last week.
I'm done. I'm done.
Okay.
We're out. I'm
saying.
hiding. Camera's off.
What's happening?
Camera's off.
I'm looking. I can't see anything.
Yeah, camera's off. Done.
Maybe because it's white and your skin is so white.
I know. I'm a ghost. I know this.
Hey, look, I'm really white. Look. At least y'all have a little bit of color, though. Y'all got a little bit of color. This guy over here,
camouflage. So I mean, I totally
beard pops out.
I mean, I'm not mad at you, man. All right, I'm not mad at you. I can see more of it.
It looked like this.
He looked like that.
It did not look like that. All right,
just picture this. This is what it was.
Except white. Okay. All right, I'm good. I'll do some research later. I'll throw it up on the.
There's no research to be done. We're good.
We're good.
That's the biggest waste of time you could ever spend, other than playing Bug Snacks.
You look a little
Next
bit.
week, his beard will be exactly like it was.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah,
So, chat, you guys have been awesome today. Seriously, it's been great turnout, great comments. So thanks as always for tuning in. We really appreciate it. Yeah, that's about it, man. Bitcast 1. What are we at? Bitcast 139. Yeah. And thanks. Appreciate it. And we will see you next Saturday. Peace.